Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. We record these interviews so potential buyers have more information about the seller and the business to help them make a buying decision. Now, before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of this business. It's a display advertising, affiliate, and Amazon Associates business created in January of 2016 in the outdoors, hobbies, lifestyle, and travel niches. And the average monthly revenue for the business is $22,570 and it makes an average of $14,804 per month in net profit. The assets included in the sale are a domain, including all site content and files, contact information for freelance writers, social media accounts, which include Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube, an email list with over 13,000 subscribers, the 2023 content calendar for this business, and a Monday.com account. Now, for everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 66763 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So that's a brief overview of the business for sale. Let's hear from the seller with me today. So welcome to the show, Dustin. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks, Nick.
Absolutely. Well, Dustin, I'm looking forward to learning more about you and your business that you have here. So to start us off, can you tell me a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, sure. So my background is in SEO and content marketing. I've been doing it since I got out of college in 2008. So I've been doing it for a while. And over the years, I've dabbled in affiliate sites and content sites. I sold a site with Empire Flippers in 2016, I believe. In 2015, I went on a backpacking trip, and my friends and I kind of talked about starting a website related to travel and the outdoors, and that's kind of where the idea for this site started. Starting then, we got to work, and 7-8 years later, here we are.
Nice. That's cool. That's how you selected the niche that you wanted to get into. I know that there's a lot of differing philosophy about how one creating a content site. Is that kind of how you decide on what kind of sites you want to build? Is something that you personally are involved in or find particularly interesting?
Yeah, definitely. So the more I work on websites and just work in general, I realize that I do a lot better if it's something I'm personally interested in. I've worked in a ton of boring verticals and industries, and I can tell you firsthand, I'm just kind of over that. So I really enjoy working on things that I'm interested in personally. And kind of the travel and outdoors niche was something that I was researching on my own anyway, and then I just kind of quickly found out that there's a lot of people researching the same stuff I did. So it just kind of made sense for a content site.
Sure. That must have been a really interesting time period for you during the pandemic with related travel. I could see this either being something that people would be more attracted to because they're looking for ways of getting out. I mean, as we know, travel was severely impacted, I guess, international travel. Yeah, very interesting time for travel sites, but all to say the business has still continued to do well, which is very impressive.
Thanks. Yeah, and we actually found out during COVID, a lot of traditional travel sites kind of took a hit because people were not traveling the same way. But because we had the outdoors angle on a lot of our content, covering glamping and camping and hiking and stuff like that, we actually saw a pretty big uptick in traffic. And I think it's just a lot of new people who were just discovering the outdoors or kind of finding new things to do that were COVID friendly. So since 2020, as crazy of a time as it was kind of the beginning of the site really taking off.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So I see you've had this site now for over 7 years. It certainly has been a journey. So why are you deciding to sell the business instead of keeping it and growing it further?
Yeah, so after that many years, I've loved this site. It's for sure been a passion project. But at the end of last year, I just kind of hit this brick wall where I felt burnt out on it. And I had that feeling in the back of my head where you're just kind of over something and you're ready to move on. And I had that 100%. It wasn't anything like I foresaw I plan on working on this site for years to come. So that was kind of even a shock to me. But once I realized what that was, then I just knew it was a good time to move on and start the process selling.
Yep, that's understandable. Usually those who build sites or build businesses in general, the thing that got them into the game, which is wanting to create, is also what makes them realize that it's time to sell and move on to the next thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Over 7 years, you've built this to be a pretty sizable website. What did you learn from building this that you think contributed to the success of this site?
So I would say the main thing we do well is just really focus on quality content. We don't try to cut corners, and I've done a ton of kind of like outreach and looking around at other websites to find travel writers that I thought were up to our content standards. So I look up travel content myself, and I can tell when it's kind of like SEO filler and when it's actually good content from people that have been to these locations and done these travels. So we really put a strong emphasis on making sure the quality was there. And with that, like doing that for so many years, at this point, we don't really have to worry about algorithm updates. Of course, like anything could happen, and, it's no site is
completely protected. Yeah. Bulletproof.
Yeah. But I think that we've done a really good job of building like this foundation and kind of like the expertise, authority, all that stuff that Google is looking for. Where at this point, there's just such a strong authority there that we've really built on that success in the early years.
Yeah, I can definitely see how creating that kind of content would help to differentiate you. Was there anything you tried during this time that didn't work out as well? Maybe a marketing initiative or, I don't know, types of content?
Yeah, there's definitely types of content that we've tried where we kind of know our bread and butter in like the outdoor niche and travel, where we know like if we post a certain type of article, it's going to do well. But we always kind of take risks and try new topics. Something that's like a little bit out of our niche, we've tried a few times, and that content hasn't always gained traction the way we wanted to. So we definitely have seen content like that. But the other thing that hasn't really worked as well as I was hoping was creating kind of like ebooks and itineraries, kind of like our own digital products that we could promote to our audience. And I've seen a lot of sites do that well, but for some reason, we just could not get there.
Got it. Well, that seems like a potential opportunity for somebody who cracks the code on that. I know that this business, it drives traffic, of course, organically, but it also drives a certain percentage direct and through social media or social. Can you talk a little bit about just these different traffic channels, how traffic is generated?
Yeah, definitely. So organic search has always been our focus, just because without that, we kind of don't know what people are looking for. So we always rely heavily on keyword research to kind of see what exactly people are looking up in different locations or related to different activities. So that's always been the foundation. But we've also found that just by working with really good writers and producing good content, we naturally get links from like social profiles and from other websites. So I feel like our referral and social traffic is always decent. We don't do a whole lot on social. Same thing, we focus so much on SEO that we kind of neglect social, sadly. But again, another opportunity for growth, I think. And then like direct traffic, if you go into our search console, we have a little bit of branded traffic. So it's nothing too crazy, but there's enough where we're getting a little bit there too.
Well, yeah, it certainly seems like an opportunity for growing out the social channel, given that is driving a relatively sizable percentage, given that you don't spend any time on it. So yeah, I see that being an area of opportunity. So let's talk about the work required here. So I see that part of the business sale, it includes contact to freelance writers. Can you describe the amount and the type of work that you do on this business for maintenance?
Sure. So when we started the site, my partner and I, we were writing most of the content, and we quickly found out that, our expertise only went so far. So we kind of expanded that into a little network of freelance writers. And like I mentioned, I kind of reached out to other really good travel sites and basically did outreach to see which writers would be interested in writing for us as well. So at this point, we have anywhere from 5 to, I'd say, 10 writers who contribute monthly. So my job at this point has been to kind of maintain relationships with them, make sure the content calendar is up to date so that they can see what topics we'd like to cover each month. But other than that, we kind of keep it loose, and we kind of keep it up to them to decide how much content they want and when they turn it in. And we have a system set up where they're posting directly into the website. We spend a little bit of time editing and formatting, adding photos, all that stuff, doing final reviews. But for the most part, everything is pretty efficient. And the writers have a lot of flexibility as to what they cover on the site. But if there's anything that we need to provide guidelines or outlines for, we do that ahead of time as they kind of like claim their topics for that month. So it's pretty loose, not super structured, but on my end, it's more reviewing and editing before everything gets published.
Got it. And then your partner does something separate of that?
So he covers kind of like the same area. We just kind of, as we each have time, we jump in there and do similar tasks. And it's probably worth mentioning that this is like another reason we're interested in selling is that we both have limited time. We have kids and full-time jobs. So the amount of time that we've been able to put towards the site over time has gone down as our other responsibilities have gone up. So we both kind of jump in, see what needs to be done. And yeah, that's about it.
Got it. It makes sense. Okay, well, let's talk about opportunities. If you were to keep the business, what are some ways that you try to grow it?
So I would definitely continue to try to make some kind of digital product work. Like I said, our time constraints, I think, are the main issue there that we weren't able to get it done. But I see sites do it successfully. And I think that with the amount of traffic the site has, if somebody was able to convert even a small percentage of that traffic and paid subscribers to like a digital product, I think that'd be significant revenue. And then email, we collect emails and we kind of maintain a list, but we don't really do a whole lot other than that. We don't have any really funnels set up or anything complex set up where, again, if someone knows how to work an email list, that's for sure a big area of opportunity, social media. So I see all these areas that we just never quite had the time to get to, but they're definitely areas of growth for sure.
Got it. That 13,000 plus subscriber list could definitely see being further monetized if it's not being used right now. Nice.
I wish I could do it.
Well, it seems like that's a growth opportunity for anybody who wants to take that on. So it's great to see. Of course, with any opportunities comes risks. So what do you think are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
So the biggest risk that we always keep in mind is just Google updates. Because we have such a high percentage of organic search traffic, that's the thing we kind of focus on the most. And again, that goes back to always wanting to focus on quality content. So in the early years, we really paid attention to making sure all the content was good. And we haven't let up on that at all. But over time, we've just noticed that we've been a little less affected by any updates that come up. Like anytime there is an update, we check stats, make sure everything looks good. And I don't think we've been negatively affected by anything in the last few years, really ever. But the last couple of years where there's these more kind of shakeup in Google, we haven't had to worry about those. And that's been something that's, really wanted to keep in mind. So of course, you never know what Google's going to do. So that's always a big risk. And then the other risk would just be, as COVID showed, anything with travel, like global or national trends in the economy can always affect travel. So that's something that, it is somewhat seasonal. And then if you throw a recession or something else in there, that can affect traffic as well. But again, it's something we've kind of tried to prepare for by having this evergreen content that comes in and out of each season we've tried to create content that works well throughout the whole year, basically.
Nice. That's kind of what I was saying as well, is that this content is relevant even to people during a pandemic or during a recession and has the ability to remain evergreen despite it being in the travel niche. Nice. Okay. A few housekeeping questions to wrap this up. How much support are you willing to offer a new buyer?
So I'd be willing to offer up to 60 days of support over the phone or email. Anybody that's familiar with WordPress and basic kind of content within a site like this will see it's a very simple business model, but I'm definitely available for up to 2 months for support.
Cool. Sounds good. And just confirming you commit to a non-compete on this business after it's sold?
Yes, I will.
Great. And are you open to something like an earnout?
Yeah, I would be. I'm open to flexible offers and seeing what's on the table for sure.
Okay, great. And putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
So I think there's still plenty of room to grow. Like I said, I didn't plan on selling the site this quickly. That was kind of like a shock to me. So when I see the trajectory we've been on, it's really good. But I also see all this opportunity we have not gotten to. And that's kind of what would make me excited to get the site, because it's definitely has not reached any kind of ceiling at all. There's so many things, so many activities and locations and angles to cover within the travel and outdoors niches. So I would say just how much opportunity is there is really exciting still.
Yeah, the different types of content, monetizing the email list, figuring out how to leverage the current social traffic that you're driving. Yeah, I can see a few opportunities here. Nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Last question then. Is there anything you'd like to add that you think I might have missed during the interview?
No, I don't think so. I think, again, this is just a side project of mine, so it never got my full-time attention. And I think if somebody did have that time and attention to give to it, it has plenty of room to go up from here.
Yeah, agreed. Well, I think this is the perfect place to wrap this up. So, Dustin, thanks so much for sharing your story and joining us on today's episode. And yeah, I hope your business is purchased in the near future and by the right buyer.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 66763. And if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.